Hello and welcome to the Downshift, hosted by Huppy, Lockie, Schwags, and myself, KT, as it's lights out on the 2025 season with a champion crowned. In this episode, we will crown our own champion in the hotly contested inaugural Downshift Predictions Battle, review the 2025 rookies, say a few goodbyes, and run through what to expect in the lead up to the 2026 F1 season, which begins in only 11 weeks, as it's
lights out.
Put the clutch back in.
And idle off the start line to finish the year.
Hello and welcome to the Downshift in our final episode of the season. Where can you believe it, boys? It's been 65 episodes.
It only feels like 63.
Can't believe we made it this far.
And we're still talking to each other.
Well, it has been 30 years, so it's been a great season. It's great to have the support of our viewers, listeners, which is far beyond what our expectations were, as the four of us were sitting around after the Singapore Grand Prix just going, hey, let's sit around and talk crap about Formula One and record it. So really do appreciate everyone who's been supporting the podcast, commenting on some of our videos and subscribing. It really is appreciated. So thank you very much. As we get into this episode, does anyone have an idea as to what our most used word was for the season?
It'd have to be something McLaren, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I would have thought.
We can say what
Oscar.
we normally
Max.
use on camera, though.
Sorry, on camera. Yep.
Yeah,
On camera,
not
right.
what was left on the editing floor before we start an episode.
Is it No, you cut them out.
I would have thought
Max
Oscar,
Racing?
Oscar Orlando. That's what I would have thought.
Surprisingly, and look, for those watching and listening, we do use a editing suite called Riverside, and at the end of the year, like Spotify and all the other platforms, they give you a rundown of what was your biggest highlights of the year. So we'll jump in and see what it was that was our biggest word for the year. Aston.
Look,
And that was just you telling your son off.
we all know you're an Aston Martin fan, but are you serious? Was that the most
Yeah,
common word?
That's a stitch up.
Apparently,
That's
so.
a complete stitch up.
Rigged.
I don't believe that at all.
So
Interesting.
there we go. So hopefully with the dark horse for 2026, maybe we might get a bit of attention and maybe some support from the Aston Martin Racing,
Or not.
or not.
We might need a bigger audience.
Adrian's
For,
just getting his checkbook out, I think.
Well, he is in charge now, so who knows?
Dan, we don't need a checkbook, just some free tickets to some Formula One events. That'll be fine. We'll work it out from there. It's okay.
But no. So look, it's been a great season, and obviously a lot of attention towards Aston Martin, maybe for the good reason or for the bad reasons. But what we're really here for tonight.
need a drum roll?
Gee,
I'll take a drum roll.
What are we here for tonight?
What are we here for?
And Mr.
Someone
Memo,
told me
what is
to
it?
put on a hat and turn up to a
He's
recording.
got his Casio keyboard
even
out. Hold on.
I didn't even get the hat memo.
So so as we've approached the end of the season, it's been a hotly contested battle between the four of us.
Well, three of us at
Four.
least.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Who's the fourth one?
For the Downshift Championship predictions. And much like the championship, there has been some shifts as we've gone through the rounds. And so I'll throw up here the graph of the predictions points as we've gone from round 1 all the way through to round 24. And we can see there has been a bit of a shift here. I mean,
Do
Lockie,
you know what my favourite colour is? It's blue. No? Sorry, keep going.
Hey, Dan, you were worried there wasn't going to be a graph in this one. Unbelievable.
I'm so happy now.
Oh, look, for popular opinion, but yeah. So, but you can see here, very tightly contested battle as we were sort of at the start, leading up to about round 6. Lockie and Huppy, you were battling it out there, and look, the way that it's ended up is we've had a bit of a Lando Norris, Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri finish.
I was in the lead once.
First,
Third
Well,
after
sorry,
one
I
round.
wasn't last. Sorry, I that was wrong.
Yeah, KT got off to a slow start there, but they made a break for it.
and went for a quick finish at the end as well.
Look at that uptick.
Oh, look, yep, absolutely. Puppy, you were leading the championship at the end with 52 points over Lockie's 46, my 45, and Schwags' 29. But we forget that we also did do our constructors' predictions, our drivers' predictions, and our bold predictions at the start of the year. So, Lockie, you actually grabbed 3 points for the constructors' predictions.
I like how you think I can remember who I tipped at the start of the year, so that's great.
That's all right. I
Yeah.
got it, had it all recorded. No. For McLaren, we both had Schwags and Lockie who took out McLaren for first position. Huppy, you and I had predicted Ferrari after what was a solid finish to 2024. But Lockie also picked Red Bull and Kicks.
I actually remember listening back to that episode going, we were like a quarter of the way through the season. And I heard that episode. I'm like, they picked Ferrari.
After McLaren got off to
Anyway.
such a good start. I knew I was
If I remember
buggered.
correctly, Dan, I was like, I can't see it happening, and they were like, no, they're really strong. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Yeah. And they were bagging me.
To be fair, from last season, they did look like they had a bit of promise. But
Yeah,
Oh,
but
they
they
were
brought
only
in that
14 points
that
behind
hack driver
McLaren.
Hamilton. This was never going to work.
Anyway, yes.
Anyway,
Moving along.
but then we got into the drivers' predictions, and Schwags, you actually were pretty solid here. You had picked 5 of the drivers in the predictions.
I can't believe you doubted me.
You picked Lando, you picked Max, you picked Oscar, and you picked Charles. And then further down the order, you picked Punchy as well. But unfortunately, that didn't help in regards to it. So still having Huppy in the lead with 55 points. Now, we come to the bold predictions. Now, if you recall, we did say that we'd have 3 bold predictions, and we all did a thumbs up, thumbs down based on whether or not we thought that was a strong prediction, and that counted on how many points any of us would have got. And I'm happy to say that no one got any points from any of our bold predictions.
Yeah, they're a bit too bold, I think. Yeah.
Because didn't we get, there was points for not only making the bold prediction, but if everyone else thought it was, anyway.
You got extra points, yep.
Apparently.
Yep.
It was some rigged system Christian put in place. I don't know.
But it still didn't help him in the end.
Clearly didn't help him, yeah.
Not at all, not at all. So,
It brought it from last to third. It's done all right.
but probably the only closest, which is probably up for a little bit of debate for you and I, Lockie, is our prediction that Haas would pull out of F1 and the team would become Toyota Gazoo Racing.
I mean, how much closer do you want? I think there's a sticker on the back now that says Toyota Gazoo.
So with that,
I think that's right, isn't it?
they haven't pulled out though. It's still Haas. So, but no. So with that, it is my pleasure to present to Huppy the Downshift Inaugural Drivers' Championship Trophy.
Oh.
So Huppy, we'll present this to you at our village Christmas lunch. So we'll make a big to-do about that. And you can hold on to that for the next 12 months. Until Schwags
we can
takes it off you.
go on the shelf back here.
He'll have to get a wider camera angle then. We can just move it around a bit to take it in.
You can sit on his shoulder like a.
You can just take a bottle of whiskey
I'll
out.
put it
and
right
place
here
a
in front of
bottle
the.
So no, congratulations, Huppy, and look, we'll look in regards to our championship for next year, potentially some other point opportunities for the team, and look at what they might look like for 2026. So speaking of the championship, I did mention at the start we'd have a look at how we thought the rookies did for 2025, throwing it around the group, wanting to see who we thought was the best performing rookie and why for the 2025 season. Huppy, maybe we'll start with you.
The best one for me, Isaac Hadjar. Outdrove the car, consistent every weekend, 51 points, stronger than Liam all year. Yeah, did a very good job. I think there was one or two others that were notable. I think actually Gabriel Bortoletto probably made waves for himself as well. And yeah, a few of the others were, I guess, not disappointing, but probably didn't achieve what they would have liked to have achieved, like Kimi and
Can I just rebut you there? I think Isaac Hadjar has done a terrible job this season, so much so that he's been promoted to Red Bull.
Yeah, well, we could talk about that at some point. That's a challenging seat to hop into. That is very challenging.
Maybe not with a new car. I reckon with a new car and everyone on the same playing field. Anyway, we'll see.
Well, I guess in regards to that, and for Isaac, is that as to whether or not Red Bull are taking the same philosophy, and we'll talk about some changes in Red Bull shortly, but to designing the car around Max or designing the car around winning a constructors championship, and really, if you look at that, had Yuki had a stronger position, you may have seen a different result in regards to even the drivers' championship, because had you had Yuki finishing second or third, knocking Lando and Oscar back, it potentially would have had Max winning the championship this year because he was supported by his teammate.
Yeah, would have helped him for sure.
Yeah.
So Schwags, for yourself, obviously with Isaac's demotion to Red Bull.
Look, I think Kimi's done a great job in a good car. I do agree with Nathan. I think Isaac, particularly in the later half of the season, I think he found his feet and was really driving, what we've sort of said to be perhaps not the best car. Liam was doing well in that car a bit towards the end as well. Kimi's done a great job, and that's what he's there for. And done everything he had to do.
Lockie, any different thoughts
to big things next year? Sorry.
Look, probably the only one you have to give credit to is Behrman, driving the tractor around that he did. He still managed to accumulate 41 points. That's pretty impressive, given what the equipment that he had under him. So, but to be fair, if you look at Antonelli, Hadjar, Behrman, all of them actually drove very well for the season. And it'd be interesting to see once the playing field's leveled next season, what happens.
Yeah, probably one to have dodged a bullet was Franco Colapinto. Bringing a lot of cash into the Alpine team there, and obviously with Flavio backing him there as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens for him next year.
I mean, Gasly well and truly had his measure, whereas some of the other guys were very, very competitive against their more experienced teammates. So yeah, Franco probably really didn't do as well as people expected this year. He got that early chance with Williams, I think it was, and showed a bit of promise, and then he really hasn't done much since then. It hasn't really fired and been super impressive is what I mean to say.
KT, do we need to ask who you thought your best rookie was for the year?
Oh, look, I think from my perspective, Isaac is probably the one that I would back as well. While Kimi scored the most points with 150 points for his debut season, Isaac, if I go all the way back to Melbourne and that terrible start that he had where he didn't even get to start the race essentially, and Anthony Hamilton giving him some kind words of advice and putting his arm around him, he's just gone from strength to strength to strength. So, I mean, I also love him, off the track in the media pin as well. Yeah, just a great personality and someone that I'm really looking forward to seeing develop through the coming seasons.
Retrospectively, I think that Anthony Hamilton whispered in Hadjar's ear is that it could be worse. You could be at Ferrari.
And that also leads to Ollie Behrman in regards to the fact that, again, it's who is he going to replace at Ferrari shortly, because he's a Ferrari
Hamilton.
Yeah, they have to be Hamilton.
Unless Chuck has enough with Ferrari and decides that it was if we look mid-season, it was Charles's manager who said that Charles actually needs a car that can help him win a championship, and so it was intimating that he's potentially on the market for other teams. So you could see a move to Aston Martin.
What an insightful comment.
But what if Ferrari has another soft season next year? Then I think the chances are much higher that you'll see one or two moves from Ferrari. But
you'll see two moves.
Yeah, possibly.
Imagine that.
Well, essentially, Charles is signed until 2028, 29. But there is a rumor that he does have a break clause for after 2027. So, and again, looking Formula One.
Trapped.
Everything can be broken if you got the money for it. Yeah.
Yep. So with that and potential farewells, we do have a few goodbyes to say to 2025 as the checkered flag waves. We bid adieu to icons and institutions, which will pave the way to 2026's radical reset. Schwags, maybe you want to kick us off with a bit of a farewell.
Well, this is a sad one. This is Yuki's last season in Formula One. It's got to say that. And I've enjoyed watching Yuki and enjoyed watching him in Drive to Survive with his perhaps loose tongue. But but he's been part of the Red Bull family for 5 years now, studying the junior development program and initially driving for Alpha Centauri until he got his long-awaited call-up to the Red Bull team after, was it 4 races this season? So he's had 92 starts, 4 podiums, and endless promise, which is, you're always sort of rooting for Yuki. He had promise here and there, but it was a hard ask this season, I think, in that number one, or not the number one, but in that Red Bull car. So and partway through the season, he kind of shifted to a reverse role of I'm surviving, he said stoically. But he's got some opportunities in IndyCar or hypercar stints to do with the Honda team, I'm assuming. And at worst, he could move to the operations room and on the dumb button at the FIA headquarters for driver swearing, or checking underfloors of the plankware on cars.
He could do that.
Be well versed.
He could do that standing up. You can't say that he didn't get a proper go this year either. Like they put him in, and they gave him the whole year, and he just wasn't quite able to match Max.
I was a little surprised that. Well, I mean, it was good that they left him in. I think once Christian had gone, it was a bit that sort of settled down. But yeah, I expected Yuki to be in there for maybe 3 or 4 races, and if he didn't perform quickly, he was going to be gone. But they stuck with him for this season, and then that's it.
Yeah, and I think that's where you saw Laurent was the one who supported him through that. Fortunately, not starting the season off, so he didn't get the full development cycle with the car and going through.
Yes, they ran out of drivers to put in the car. Who else were they going to volunteer to stick in there? It was a road to saying goodbye to Formula One if you jumped in that car.
And now next year he's a reserve driver for the team, so he's going to be hanging around. But obviously, no real opportunities for 2027 are probably going to present themselves with good talent coming through from F2. So he's going to be looking at other options, I think, Dan, like you said.
Well, now he's just going to be part of the meme from the Red Bull meme where they're all in the cloud saying, "Come and join us, Yuki."
Yeah, there's not many left, is there? Yeah.
So with that, and so farewell to Yuki, but we also say farewell to our current regs, Happy.
Yes, and aren't we terribly sad to see this lack of overtaking finish? Hopefully we have some interesting changes next year. I mean, we know there's going to be big changes next year. We've had these current regs for the last 3 or 4 years. It was the last, I guess, revision of those with some tyre changes and different aero and so on, which the attempt was there to try and make overtaking a bit easier, reduce sort of dirty air coming off rear wings. Seemed to work at the start. So 2022, 23, there was actually a good number of overtakes, but less and less over the past couple of years. So we've seen the end of the 1.6 litre V6 hybrid power units that we've had for, I think, about 11 years now, all up. So they'll be changing a bit next year, as we've discussed in previous episodes, more electrical power. And of course, the big changes, I guess, are the aero changes and the DRS change. So now we've got these different aero elements, movable front and rear wings, X mode, Z mode, everything's still up in the air. Like, if people are juggling balls at the moment, working out how all this is going to work in real races. But it is the end of the current regs as we know them. And I know all 4 of us, I can speak for us, and I can probably speak for our audience. Everyone's probably excited to see a big change next year and have brand new cars rolling out, see what the pecking order is going to be and how these cars are actually going to race. So it'll be good.
Bring on some breakdowns and overtakes.
Yeah, the reliability and performance will be fascinating to watch.
And Lockie, you'll be getting excited as we start. Well, we're saying goodbye, but hello.
That's right. Valtteri is ending his relationship then with Mercedes, and he's coming over to Audi. Looking very much forward to that, especially with the launch. Audi's been doing some teasers recently online as well, so looking forward. Very, very happy to have Valtteri on board.
Hopefully he's
and
still
you
got
honorary
it.
Australian.
Yeah. Well,
he spotted it at a local Bunnings?
No, he bought
somewhere.
a winery or something in South Australia. So
South Australia.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he's been posting on the socials with putting beds in for his Airbnb. He's been down at Bunnings picking things up. He's been having a couple of frothies down at the bar. And so doing everything in true Aussie fashion.
Yeah, he was on the cricket broadcast today for the Ashes game, so he loves Australia, definitely. So wouldn't be surprised to see him retire here after his Formula One life.
And Christian, that brings us to probably the latest part of we've had with Mr. Helmut Marko.
Yes, I thought was really interesting is that we've actually seen Dr. Helmut Marko relieved of duties at Red Bull. And look, from that perspective, as you see that with Helmut, essentially he's the individual who started Red Bull with Dietrich Mateschitz many, many years ago and had essentially carte blanche in regards to what he wanted to do around the team. But look, the news broke shortly after the 2025 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix earlier this month. But it was officially confirmed last week that they're based on internal conflicts that they would be parting ways. And while it was said that it was Helmut's decision to leave, this came after he had signed Arvid Lindblad without approval of the board. And so Arvid obviously coming into the season next year as the second driver in the Racing Bulls, but also the fact that he signed Alex Dunn, who was a rookie driver for McLaren without the approval of the board. And so the board actually had to go and cancel that contract, which ended up costing Red Bull hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get out of that initial contract. Obviously, there is a changing of the guard here, and this photo here shows that we've got Jonathan Wheatley, who is now going to Audi, Helmut, who is leaving the team, Adrian Newey, who is now at Aston Martin, and then Sergio Perez, who's now also going over to Cadillac. And also Christian Horner, which, Lockie, you were just mentioning before, a little bit of rumour?
Yeah, well, breaking news is he's actually looking to buy into Alpine at the minute. So he's in discussions and talks to become the team principal there with a bit of a purchase interest or a buying interest in there as well. So I'm not sure how he's going to work alongside Flavio there and how that will actually work. But yeah, rumour has it that once his gardening leave is finished, that's where he's next looking to head.
I think they'd have to choose one or the other, surely. You can't have both of them, both of those guys, those personalities in the
if
team.
you could pick between those two, I'm pretty sure Flavio will be shown the door rather quickly. So.
Flavio did nothing this year. Like, he was supposed to come in and, I don't know, just
Special
radicalise
advisor
the team or something or whatever it was he was supposed to do after a lot of controversy.
Yeah, laughable.
Very little.
Christian Horner, who publicly has a great deal of respect for Flavio and has said many times that he thinks that he's a very good operator. So interesting.
Watch this space.
So as we lead into 2026, there's a lot that's going to be happening in the early part of next year. We are looking to take a little bit of a break over the Christmas and also our summer shutdown here in Australia. But we will see things kicking off in January 15th with Red Bull and Racing Bulls launching their joint livery with their partner Ford Motor Company at a Detroit event, which will unveil the liveries, but also the new Ford-powered cars.
Yeah, just do we think that the colour might be blue?
Or could be. We'll see.
You could get a job as a designer at Red Bull.
Well, I reckon could be something similar. Yep.
But we will be rejoining with the podcast the week after, where we will review the liveries of both teams or the one team, as we then also prepare for Alpine and Haas revealing their liveries on the 23rd of January. And then we'll start to get into some testing. Now, there is some closed off testing behind closed doors for a shakedown of the new power units and the new regs, so that won't be publicly broadcast. So we're not seeing as to what teams are breaking down.
They say no media access, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we get some spy photos coming out of that.
Can I just jump in there as well? So presumably, like last year, obviously it was the 75th anniversary. There was a big media thing that went on. There's nothing like that this year.
No, they're all doing a separate.
They're not sort of going,
launch.
wow, this was so good, let's do it every year.
No, I think, they're looking at that in regards to anniversary type events. And so with the 75 years, there was talk about it being in another 5 years' time when they do 80 years. Again, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of expense, a lot of effort that needs to be gone to by the teams. There was a lot of the teams which were complaining about the amount of work they had to put into being prepared for that, and also the fact that they all had to fly to the one location to be able to do this event.
Huge cost and distraction when they're all working flat out to get cars ready for the start of the season. Yeah.
And it's not very good for the carbon footprint if you're trying to tell everyone you're going to try to be more
No.
renewable.
Exactly.
Yep. And I was listening to an interview the other day where talking about the fact that I think it was Bernie Collins who was saying that they were seeing that as McLaren were arriving at the track, Haas were actually going back to the hotels to have showers because they were still trying to get their car up and running for the first race in Melbourne. So, from that regards, to your point, Huppy, is there is so much to prepare. And given the fact we're going into the new regs, the teams are going to be absolutely grappling.
Yeah, exactly.
So as I was saying, so there will be a behind closed doors shakedown. As Happy was saying, I'm expecting that there will be some sneaky footage that'll come out of those tests.
Hopefully.
Each of the teams will have the option of 3 test days over that week to be able to go and test their vehicles. Following that, we do have on the 8th of February, Cadillac doing their full car launch. Now, Lockie, as you're saying, we've seen Cadillac putting a number of images out as well as Audi, but that is the official launch for the 2026 Challenger. We then have the day after, Aston Martin will be unveiling the AMR 26, so the new Aston Martin Adrian Newey design.
Is that Aston Martin, did you say?
Yes.
Yeah, Aston.
Aston
Martin.
Let's not make that the biggest word we use in 2026.
Well, we haven't got to 2026
No,
yet, so we'll just have to start an
But what if
episode by
they're-
going McLaren.
What if they're really good next year?
Well, they could be.
Anyway,
Anything's possible. February 11 is when it's the first public
Public
pre-season testing. So that will be in Bahrain. So this will be the first time that we'll actually get to see the cars in their full glory, running around the tracks and doing those performance tests at the international circuit. After which, Red Bull and Racing Bulls are doing their complete reveal of their designs post the initial testing.
Two
didn't they
launches.
do a
of
livery
course.
reveal in January?
Yeah, it'll have a different
Livery
sticker on this one,
launch.
so that'll be the difference.
Won't be blue?
No, it'll still be
Might
blue.
have a little white
Still
or
be
red
blue,
bit on it
okay.
as well. It's fine. It's fine.
Right.
After which we then will have the second public pre-season testing again in Bahrain, which will be from the 18th to the 20th of February, before the rest of the teams will then finalise their livery reveals. And we're still waiting for dates to be confirmed, but that will be McLaren, Mercedes, Ferraris, Williams, and Audi. So we'll watch this space for that coming up.
Just a sideline question. Who are the teams that did well in Bahrain testing this season? 'Cause I thought Ferrari did quite well, did they not? Was there others?
Yeah, they're okay.
Didn't
McLaren,
necessarily-
strong, very strong.
Yeah,
McLaren, okay. So some of it did translate to actual results.
Yeah, it was a reasonable guide as to how they would go, but coming into Melbourne, still a little bit unsure.
and it's always difficult because they're testing different fuel loads, they're testing different setups, they're different aeros, etc.
They're not necessarily testing pure pace around
No.
the track.
They may not run
Whether
full
they have
engine
the engines
power.
dialed up to 11.
Yeah.
And you'll find with a lot of these is because they are the new power units is that they'll be wanting to just test for reliability. So they'll be doing some long run testing just to see how they're running these in. I was listening to an interview with Mercedes and talking about their program, and they're saying they're not even ready now. Of course, a little bit smoke and mirrors, but they're still going through a quite a big build period. Don't forget, they're also supplying 3 other teams as well. So there's a lot of engines to be built between now and then. Essentially, when you think about that, they're taking 4 engines per team to Melbourne. It's a lot of power units to build.
Forward to it.
So with that, as we look forward to the 2026 season, Lockie, what are you looking forward to for the upcoming season for Formula One?
Audi.
One word
No, I'm
answer.
actually looking forward to seeing how they the drivers actually handle and regulate the new power units in terms of being able to control, because they've got their own, no more DRS, obviously, so they can control when they choose to apply the electric, when they don't, how they're going to conserve the battery in that. So I think it'll be a complete different way to drive the cars themselves in terms of conserving usage and things like that. I think we'll actually see that will become the new strategies for the cars. I think pit stops will still be there, but I think if you can actually maintain your battery better, that will actually be the way forward.
How about you, Shrakes?
There's a lot to look forward to next season, I reckon. The two new teams coming in, well, when I say two new teams, like Audi, and particularly since Audi are choosing their own engine to start out with, like that's going to be interesting to see how they manage that process. But then also Cadillac, particularly how they are going to manage having been in Formula One before, just the whole everything. They've got to learn how to do everything, and use the Ferrari engine, which is probably, they don't have to worry about that engine. But yeah, I think that's going to be really interesting. I mean, unfortunately, we probably won't get to see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff once they're racing so much, because it'll all be a bit, secret squirrel. Don't tell others your secrets. But that's be interesting to see how they shape up in the field.
How about for you, Huppy?
I think what I'd be looking forward to most is the first year of new regulations is it's such a dynamic year for engineers, for aerodynamicists in teams. Everyone has worked privately on what they think is the best solution and the best interpretation of the rules and where the grey areas are. And you see this at the start of all new regulations. The cars will roll out. Some teams will choose different philosophies over wings or suspension setups, and there'll be little gadgets here and there that appear. And so every team is going to have spy photographers looking at everyone else, like who's got a good solution. If they're fast, why are they faster than us? So, I know that all the teams have been working flat out on their own car, but it just starts all over again when they hit testing and they see everyone else come out, and this technological race to, find the optimal setup and the optimal design and the optimal aero for your car is it's what Formula One's all about, really. So, the last few years, everything sort of converges on the same sort of design, but at the start, you see these different cars rolling out. So that's what I'm excited about.
Isn't Adrian going to be busy walking up and down the grid?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
He'll have a big notepad.
Yeah,
Yikes.
no, but seriously, the news, the technical Formula One news will be flat out for the first 3 months, talking about who's doing what and why and what's better and what's not and what the philosophies are in the different car designs. So I'm hoping they're all different because it just adds a lot of interest, for me anyway. I like the technical side of Formula One. So, yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, you only had to see Adrian at Abu Dhabi standing at the McLaren, literally with his notepad, writing things down and going into that. And there's a really great episode, a great documentary on Brawn for those who are interested, where this was the era of the double diffuser, and you saw that there were 3 teams that came to the start of the championship with that double diffuser, and it was very quickly after that all the other teams were grappling to copy and get that down. And so Braun really only had that advantage for about 4 to 6 races before everyone else had caught
We'll
up.
catch on, but that's exactly what hopefully we'll see next year. And I was reading, flicking through X the other day, and one of the F1 journos said, wouldn't it be great if now this current regulation era has ended and the car designs are going to be really quite different? Wouldn't it be great if the teams said, okay, here's our car from 2025, open slather, talk about your tech, talk about your solutions. And so the public can find out why McLaren was so dominant in the first half of the season and what they did and why they did it. And was there something special with their brake cooling or not? And all this sort of stuff, because normally we only find out about some of this technology and these solutions years after the fact, but I thought it was a great idea. That'd be fantastic for teams to sort of, lift their skirt as it was to everyone else, all the other teams as well. Look at everyone's designs and cars and see what it was all about.
That sounds like a Channel 7 spotlight expose, I think. Right there.
But it would be cool. It'd be really interesting to be able to dig deep into that sort of stuff.
And look, for me, similar to what Happy's saying, but I'm really looking forward to a reset to the entire grid. And I mean, from this perspective is we don't know what to expect for the start of the season. There's going to be reliability challenges, all the drivers are going to be put basically onto a level playing field. And I think we'll see probably one of the most dynamic and unpredictable seasons in almost a decade. And talk of driver swaps, team swaps. So anything could happen next year leading into 2027, and we could see a complete shake-up and some dark horses coming through. So, it would be, we've got, I think we were saying in a few episodes past that you've probably got about 7 or 8 championship contenders that are coming into next year, given the right car, given the right platform. So,
yeah. And hopefully they're all fairly close in competitiveness. Like at least if the top half of the field was close, we'll get some good racing. It'd be nice not to have them spread out with someone who's clearly faster than everyone else. Then it gets a bit boring. So hopefully it's pretty competitive.
And wouldn't it be interesting to see a 45-year-old world champion in Fernando Alonso?
Yeah, that would be cool.
Aston.
So, look, what a year it has been. 65 episodes since the Downshift started back in February of this year. We will be taking a little break over the summer for the next few weeks, returning in the new year just after Red Bull's livery launch in Detroit.
With new regulations and hopefully some more exciting racing.
The premiere of 2 new teams, Cadillac and Audi.
Maybe a second chance for Oscar Piastri as we return to Melbourne in early March.
But importantly, thank you to you, our listeners and viewers, for supporting us. When we started this podcast, as I was saying at the start of the episode, we had a very small following and we didn't expect...
We still do.
But we didn't expect the support that we do have now. So we really do appreciate it. And we're looking forward to doing even more in 2026.
Time to lift our game.
Yep. So we'll have to have a few meetings and gather around the whiteboard, boys.
Wow.
We should start preparing and start trying. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
So for the last time this year, it's
lights out.
Pick up some rubber as we cruise around the track.
My shoulders hurt from carrying you boys, but let's bring it back to the garage.
And we'll see you all on the next lap.